I'm M. Sauter, better known as Pints and Panels.
And I am Dantes, better known as the Dawn of Beer.
Welcome to episode 51 of the All About Beer podcast. Every 2 weeks, we talk with leading experts and take a deep dive into one topic in beer. This week on the show, we're going to talk about a popular style from Brazil that deserves your attention. The beer style is the Catharina Sour. Visit allaboutbeer.com and follow us on social media at allaboutbeer. And if you're feeling generous, please visit our Patreon page, patreon.com/allaboutbeer, to support this show and others. So, John, have you had a Catharina Sour?
I have not, but I'm super excited to learn about them because I know you love them. You keep talking about them.
I
So
do.
very
So
excited.
I've been trying to get this episode done for so long. And the thing is, it's because I'm not a real big kettle sour or just sour person in general. They're not my really thing that I like. But when you have a fresh Catarina sour and you have this fruit and the tanginess and the tropical, they're just really good. I just don't understand why they're not more popular in America. I think if Americans brewed them, they'd be a huge hit. So I'm excited to have you learn about them from two really wonderful Brazilian guests that we have today. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. But first, if you'd like to help support the All About Beer podcast, reach out to podcast@allaboutbeer.com. Speaking of supporting the show, here's a word from our sponsors.
Welcome to Estrella Galicia, where brewing excellence has been a family tradition since 1906. They're all about lager, rooted in German brewing heritage, maintaining their commitment to tradition. They brew exclusively in their original brewery in La Coruña, Spain. Each beer boasts its own distinctive recipe. No shortcuts, no compromises. They shun high-gravity tricks and avoid additives, even in their alcohol-free beers, and stick firmly to traditional methods. Their passion for beer sets them apart as they embrace and celebrate the art of brewing. At Estrella Galicia, they love beer above all things. Experience the difference and learn more about it on Instagram at Estrella Galicia, USA.
Aline Ferreira, as a degree in business administration, is a beer sommelier and has a master in styles from the Brewing Tecnológica. She is also an international beer judge. I've judged with her before. She's amazing. She's BJCP certified and is also a level 1 certified beer server Cicerone. She homebrews and teaches classes at universities talking about beer and marketing. She has her own beer marketing agency working for many beer brands and is also an ambassador for many beer competitions in Latin America. Tedesco Almeida started homebrewing in 2016 and is the founder and brewer of Pivo Cervecería Rua. Pivo has created a mix of traditional styles using modern technologies and techniques and local ingredients, all from their farm. He studied beer in Munich and at the Leuven University in Belgium. Welcome to the show, Aline and Tedesco. Thank you guys so much for joining us from Brazil to talk about Catharina Sour.
Hi,
Thank you
Al.
for inviting.
Yeah. It's fun when we have two guests at the same time. Normally we record people separately, but I like when we have two guests because we get I always feel like there's more, and Don, I don't know if you agree with me. There's always more passion and excitement because everyone wants to talk and they have it's fun.
My goal is to make you two fight. No, I'm just kidding.
No, absolutely not. Don't ever listen to anything Don says. So, for an American, yes, for the American audience, who may not know this style, what is a Catarina Sour? Because I've had them, but in Brazil, and there's a couple breweries here in America I've seen brew them, but that's super rare. What is, just very briefly, what is it?
Okay, I think, thank you for this invite to talk about Catharina Sour. It's always a pleasure to talk about our beer, a Brazilian beer. And I think about this style, I will give the word for Tedesco, who is a brewery, a very good brewery from Brazil. And I think he deserves to start to talk about.
All right, Tedesco, you're up.
So thank you all for inviting me. Catharina Sour is, I believe the most important point of Catharina Sour is a beer that can give you a full expression of a set of fruits or only one fruit as you desire. but the most important word for Catharina Sour is freshness. So Catharina Sour is a beer that can, in a very special way, show the local possibilities of a fruit or fruit and herbs and spices from a place, in the way that freshness can. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Can we record again?
Oh, yeah,
Keep
sure.
going.
Yeah, you keep going.
Okay. So Catharina Sour is so important for us here in Brazil, because the most important component of Catharina Sour is the fruit. And Brazil has the biggest biodiversity on earth, so we have a lot of fruits here. So it's a way to show these characteristics of our drinks, not only beer, but using a beer style. So I believe that Catharina Sour, if you can summarize, is a sour beer with a clean body, with a clean fermentation, where the fruit is the most important component, and the fruit should be fresh. The freshness of the fruit is the most important characteristic of a good Catharina Sour.
So fruits, so when you say like freshness, like does the beer only taste, is it kind of like an IPA where it'll kind of diminish after a few months if you don't drink it? Or are you speaking about the freshness of using fresh fruit, not extracts, not puree, not stuff like we use here in the United States?
The flavor of the fruit must remember a fresh fruit. So you should not taste any kind of artificial fruit on the beer. So if you, if you have a pineapple Catharina Sour, for instance, it must remind you of fresh pineapple, not an artificial extract or thing like that. You can, for sure, if you use a lot of different kinds of fruits, of processed fruits, but in the end of the day, in the glass, it must express freshness.
Yeah. And for me, I think, don't get me wrong, because we have to use fruits. It's better when they are fresh, but I don't care how you do the beer. You can use extracts, you can use pulp, you can use everything that you want, but at the end, the beer has to taste like you are tasting a very fresh fruit. You have to get this on the beer. I think this is the most important thing.
Okay. Aline, can you tell me, do you know who invented the style? Like, where did it start?
Oh, okay. This is a nice story.
Okay.
First of all, this style was like, there's not one person. We believe was a Brewers Association from here, a home brew association in Santa Catarina. There is the state from where was born this style. That's why the name Catarina is from
Okay.
the state from Santa Catarina. And they start to think how to bring a Brazilian identity for our beer, and how can we put our ingredients and things that we only have here, and bring a tropical perspective for a beer. And they start a brewer and they start to teaching how to do this beer, because I think I'm sorry, that's in my WhatsApp. So they start to brew and teaching the home brewers and the breweries here. So it was to 2016, so it's very young, this history from Brazil. So they start to brewery, and then they start to send this beer to the competitions, and then we have this need to like get official because the homebrews are doing, were doing, the breweries were brewing also. So we have to think about how this could be more official. So it was a homebrewing movement that made this beer.
Oh, that's
Oh, I
very
see.
cool
I
that
like that
it's
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that is it brewed all over Brazil now, not just in Santa Catarina, or is it like kind of a regional product?
Yeah, I think it's very popular between us from craft beer. I think it's not that popular with the rest of people, but between us, among the craft beer people, I think it's very popular. You can find everywhere, and any brewery can maybe will have one recipe and one Catharina Sour, I think.
Yes, and the most important part of this is we are brewing Catharina Sour all over the country, and Brazil is a huge country, so a Catharina Sour from the south of Brazil is completely different from the Catharina Sour in the north of Brazil. We have different fruits and different flavors. So in some very funny way, it's a way to travel all around Brazil because you can taste regional flavors using beer as a vector. So
I like
it
that.
is nice.
Yeah, it's more of a ideology as opposed to a rigid style that way. Yeah, I like that. So you talk about the importance of the fruit and the freshness of the fruit. Is there anything um, else that kind of defines the style in terms of the malt and the hops and the yeast that are used?
Yes. Uh, This beer should be must be a clear beer with a clear fermentation, and the sour aspect of the beer must be clean as well. So we are talking about lactic acid here.
Okay.
Yes, and so the base, the grist, must be must have Pilsner malts and wheat. Um, to create this very clean base to let the fruit express all the fruit potential. Normally, we follow the kettle sour method to have in order to have a clean fermentation, and we must take care of it to don't have another types of acids, only lactic acid.
Excellent.
And the fruit, normally we add the fruit in the end of the fermentation process, the end of fermentation process. So
Oh,
this is how we do it here. You can for sure add fruit later or some extracts, but adding in during the fermentation, in the end of the fermentation, is the safest way to create the Catharina Sour. And don't, one thing that is very important here is for Catharina Sour, the fruit is the most important component. So when you are building your recipe, you must do it in the way that you must figure out how to uh, have the best base for that specific fruit or that specific set of fruits. So if your beer if your fruit has already a lot of sourness, you must create a lighter base. If your fruit doesn't have it, you must create a stronger base. So during that phase, you must the fruit is the most important thing here. So the base is created to communicate with the fruit and gives you the best expression of the fruit.
I like that. Communicate with the fruit. I like that.
Yeah, because some fruit can be sweet, some fruit can be more sour
Yes.
or bitter. So you can have a lot of different relation between the base and between the fruit. And I think it's important to say also that the hops here it's not that thing. They're not the star in this beer. So hops, you can, they are like enemies with the the lactic acid. So the hops here, they shouldn't appear in this beer. Maybe just like, okay, there's a hop for you, but the bitterness, there's not the star in here in this
Right.
beer.
Yes. From
Uh,
5 to 8 IBU is the range that you're looking. And
Okay.
Super low.
yes.
Tedesco, you mentioned that you add the fruit kind of near the end of fermentation. Is most of
Yes.
the sugar fermented, or will there be some sweetness, some sugar left from the fruit?
No, we want some sugar left in from the fruit.
Okay.
We want actually the right answer is it depends. Depends
Okay.
of the fruit.
Everything.
Yes, because if you are creating a Catharina Sour using lime or some citrus, maybe the sweetness is not a big thing. So you can have a drier Catharina Sour. But if you're creating a Catharina Sour using a sweeter fruit, the public will is expecting to have that kind of sweetness. So you must elaborate your recipe to bring that to them. You must respect the characteristics of the fruit. So and I believe that this is the good point here. You have to prove the fruit before and see the amount of water and how the fruit is, and try to create the recipe to respect the aspects of the fruit. So you have drier fruits, you have drier in the sense of the opposite of sweet, and you have sweeter fruits, and you must respect that.
So when you're saying that the beer gets put into this, or the fruit gets put into the secondary, and there's like some residual sweetness, if I put this beer in a can, will it explode? Is there leftover, or is it all fermented out? I guess, does it depend on which one you're brewing? Or I just think I think about in America, we have a big problem with people just dumping fruit and then canning it.
No, for the Catharina Sour that we use cans, the sugars are completely fermented. So
Okay.
you must,
So the sweetness remains, but the
yes,
sugars are fermented. Okay,
mhm.
wonderful.
And
We're gonna,
and
oh, go ahead.
and the sourness protects the beer in some sense, but all the sugars must be fermented before enters the can.
Okay, awesome. We are going to take a very short break, and we'll be back in just a few seconds with Elaine and Tedesco.
Yeah, see you.
Craving a beer but want to skip alcohol? Meet Estrella Galicia 00. It's a 0% beer that's both refreshing and full of flavor. Using an innovative interrupted fermentation process, they create a golden, bright beer with floral, hoppy notes, along with aromas reminiscent of pale malts. With its light, crisp, and gentle bitter finish, Estrella Galicia 00 is perfect for any occasion. Brewed entirely in Spain, this alcohol-free beer delivers the authentic taste of Estrella Galicia. Experience the difference and learn more by visiting estrellagalicia.com.
All right, we are back. I want to ask about the fruits because there are so many different. So I've been to Brazil. Don, have you been to Brazil?
I have not
So
Oh,
there are a lot.
yet.
Yes, I
come
know.
to
Don,
Brazil.
you
Have to come.
There are so many different fruits that you all have that we don't have. Can you talk about the popularity of what fruits are popular in this style of beer?
Yes, yes. So we have so many fruit, as you said, and as a very large country, we have different biomes and different weather. So in Northwest, it's different from the South. It's different from here that I'm in Rio de Janeiro. So every state, every region maybe has a specific type or a specific profile. And sometimes we don't know every fruit that we have in Brazil. But I think the mostly fruit, the mainly fruit in Catharina Sour that is very common in every region here. I think it's passion fruit, guayaba, and maybe what else, Tedesco?
I believe guava is a popular fruit. Strawberry is a popular fruit. We have a lot
Red fruit.
yes, red fruit. Dragon fruit is a good addition because it's beautiful. It makes it's purple. It's really good.
Oh,
It's
And
quite
yeah.
subtle though, isn't it? Dragon fruit flavor is
yeah,
quite subtle.
Yeah. And Tedesco has in his farm. So
Oh,
he
yeah.
plant and
All the
make
Catharina
guava.
Sour, yes, all the Catharina Sour from Vivo, the fruits are collected in our farm, so we can truly just pick the fruit and sanitize it, process it, and add to the beer. So more 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 fresh than this is impossible. So
right.
it's a
I
benefit
love it.
that we have here.
What
And it's beautiful. Yeah.
it's yeah. Oh my gosh, the Catharina Sours that I had in Florianopolis
Mhm.
were just outstanding. There's a lot of caju
Cashew,
Yeah.
yes.
for
Mhm.
Americans and people who are listeners who are English speakers. It's the cashew nut, it's the fruit.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
really, really nice.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a
Who knew there
really
was such a thing? You
it's
obviously, but
that well, I didn't know until I went to Brazil. Tedesco, what do you grow on the farm that's next to the brewery? Like what fruits are you excited
well,
about?
how
And
many? First of all, is
yeah,
it
and how
like is
many?
that a dozen or
actually, it's a small farm, and we have a lot of fruits there. A lot of different citrus. So we have different types of oranges and limes, and so you can mix it together. And we have a lot of herbs and spices there also. So we like to play with that, with herbs and fruits. And I believe that the best one that we made was one with passion fruit, dragon fruit, and strawberry. It was really great.
Oh.
And the citrus that we have here in my state, it's the name is sweet lemon. It's something between the lime and the orange, and
oh,
it's a very clean citrus. So. Was a mix of all those fruits and it's great beer.
Is it popular to blend different fruits with Catarina Sour, or do you mostly see like passion fruit Catarina Sour, or do you see ones that are blended, and how popular are those?
I believe
No.
nowadays it's really popular to blend a lot of fruits. Actually, a friend of mine brewed one with acai and porcini mushroom.
oh.
What?
And was
Oh, nice.
What?
was a great
I-
beer, such a great beer. A lot of umami.
Wow.
yeah,
Was
wow.
beautiful beer
That's
I
with
want
the
to taste
sweetness and
that.
earthness of the acai and the umami of the mushroom. It's great.
Nice. I was thinking I was a very creative person, but I don't think right now because I'm making a recipe to collab with another brewery from Rio, and I'm making one with mango and basil.
Oh,
oh that
Yeah,
our that sounds really good.
yeah, I think that this together maybe work as a refreshing drink, and you have the fruitness, you have the herbal from the basil. I think it will work together. Let's see. We have to try.
yes.
Like yeah, you just mentioned basil though, really quick. And Tedesco, you mentioned spices too. Are spices something that's also added to Catarina Sour? And if so,
So
how are they used? And are they like fresh or are you using dried? What's the
Normally, when I
Depends.
use, it depends.
It depends. I feel like
It
Katarina,
depends.
just the main goal is it depends.
Yeah,
You know,
Katarina depends.
because Catherine is such a canvas that you can express all your
Mm.
creativity, and that it really depends of what you want to express. So it accepts a lot of different possibilities, and this is the best point of Catharina Sour. And yeah, we use a lot of time extracts that we made in our beer, in our brewery. So in this way we can have more control of the flavor and the process instead of dropping the
I see.
spicy. So
What kind of,
extract
what
of
kind of spices are you using?
rosemary,
Oh,
basil,
Cinnamon.
cinnamon,
Mm.
oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I
pepper.
think the main part about the spices, for me, it is they have to bring more complexity, but they shouldn't spark as the fruit.
Right.
It's like
Right.
bringing more layers and maybe with the aroma and the flavor, but it's not like, oh, that's so much cinnamon in here that I can smell the fruit. Which fruit is that? Maybe on the background, the herbs and spice could work together. So,
Yeah.
but the
This is
fruit
the
is the
important
start.
point. Yes, the fruit is the most important component. So the herbs and spicy, if you use it, you have to use it in order to complement the fruit, not to
Mask it. Yeah.
mask it. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Aileen, for American and Canadian drinkers who, we would be familiar with Berliner Weiss or Goza or fruited kettle sour, how is Katharina Sour different from those or similar to those, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's similar. Okay, we have some common points. But I think about the Catharina Sour is mostly about the fruits and our Brazilian identity. So we can make kettle sour. Some people could use acid lactic to complement in the fermentation. And here in Brazil, I don't know if you know, I think you do, but for the home brewers, they start to brew with Yakult, the beer with Yakult. Do you know?
Yakult? No, what is
Yeah,
that?
you don't know? It's like lactobacillus drink
Oh, like
for.
yogurt.
Oh, yogurt.
Yogurt. Yes.
It's
Okay.
almost a yogurt. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, but okay. In
It's
America,
like
it's like a
yeah,
drinkable yogurt.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
very
They use that in
very
America
small.
too. Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
I know,
We have that.
the
Yeah, we have that in America too.
white little bottle with red, I think. So they used this to make the Catharina Sour from the start, because here we doesn't in their time we doesn't get the access to very good yeast, so we have to do whatever we have here, like because we can find in the supermarket. So it's very fine to eat, it's very easy to find, it's cheap, so they start this way. So I think this is part of our history and made us really like this beer and really have a very relation and connect with this history and this part that was a difficult time because the homebrewer doesn't get the access to good eats. So I think this is a very important part. And the fruit, of course.
Right.
And Don, asking your question, I believe the difference among those styles is Catharina Sour. the freshness of the fruit is the major component, and the second one is the fermentation is really clean. The sourness is clean also. So I believe
see.
this is the
Yeah,
the
where I
biggest
guess
difference.
where the Berliner Weiss can have Brett, Brettanomyces, or
Yes.
the and the Goza has can be like, so it has the saltiness. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
And the
sour
Berliner can,
characteristics should be really clean.
Okay.
yeah. And also the Berliner Weiss can be used with syrups and
Mhm.
different type
Right,
of,
right. Woodruff and
yeah.
all of that, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because in the end of the day, it should be a refreshing beer.
Right.
So the sourness must express freshness.
And
So
it's a little higher alcohol as well than it goes in the
yes,
Berliner
yes, it
Weiss,
is.
right? It's like
Yeah.
5%.
5%, yes,
Yeah.
5%.
Yeah.
Because you have such a huge amount of fruit, and you must have this stronger body to support the fruit.
Tedesco, you mentioned how, it has to be such a clean sourness, and you mentioned about all the fruit that you're using. Is malolactic fermentation an issue? Do you ever do a malolactic fermentation?
Yes, it can be a problem. Can be
It
a
can be a
problem.
problem. Okay.
Yes, can be a problem. But not only that, when we are doing your kettle sour, you must pay attention to the amount of oxygen, and measure all those things to be sure that you are only creating lactic acid. And yes, when you are dealing with this huge amount of fruit, not only malic acid is the problem, but also sanitization and all
Yes.
those things that you must take care, because we are talking about here of 10 to 30% of fruits. So it's a lot of fruits.
Oh yeah, that's a lot
Yeah.
of fruit.
That is a
Yeah,
lot.
a lot of
Okay,
fruit.
that's a good question.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's very fruit heavy. Okay.
Yes.
Are they popular outside of Brazil? Is there can you find in South America other places brewing the style?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Oh, good. Spread the Brazilian pride.
Yeah.
So where, what other countries are brewing Catharina Sour? Are they starting to see an uptick in Argentina, your neighbors? Like, can I go to Paraguay and find a Catharina Sour or?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
So
good.
I'm very happy about this. I'm very proud about this. So because I'm traveling all these South American countries. So I've been to many countries the last 2 years, and like Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Chile, they are brewing Catharina Sour. And the best thing about this, there's not only brewing, but winning medals with Catharina Sour recipes. So last 2 years, no, 2 years ago, a Catharina Sour recipe won the best of show in Mitad del Mundo,
Oh,
beer
nice.
competition in Ecuador.
Wow.
So I think this is a very important thing, because for us it's like wow, our beer is being recognized in other country. They are trying to do their own recipes with their own fruits. And the funniest thing about this is because they are very curious, they have so many curiosities, and they ask us how to put the fruit, how to brew, and these are making us being more connected and making more relations, networking, and sharing recipes and tips to how to do the beer. I know one guy in Chile, hi Gonza. Gonza won so many medals making Catharina sours, and I think he is the most winning medals in Chile, more than 100 medals from.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And the most of his beers are Catharina Sour. So I think there's not just the Brazilian are doing, everyone is doing.
Nice.
Well, that's exciting. Well, it's been recognized by the BJCP now. So do you think that has something to do with it,
Yes.
or do you think that it's just a really good
It's
beer
just
style and it's
delicious.
popular? It's delicious. I mean, do you think that helps that now that the BJCP has recognized it as a style?
Of course. I think one piece of this is from Gordon Strong. Hi, Gordon. So I think from his article for the BJCP website, start like a spark for the home brewers to search how to do the Catharina Sour recipe. And they start to send a lot of emails and asking about the recipe, how to kettle sour, how to add the fruit. So they start a movement to know how to brew the recipe. And the homebrewers from Brazil were doing a lot of pressure to put this style on the BJCP. They wrote a fully description on BJCP style and bring it to Gordon and said, well, we already have the description here, like aroma, appearance, flavor, everything, history. They had it all set up, and like so the homebrewers are doing, the brewers are doing, the people from other country are doing. So we have to put this on map. So the BJCP was very important for this because some people doesn't know Catharina Sour until we got the BJCP guide.
Right.
So I think it's very, very important for us.
And as Aline told you, Catharina Sour is the fruit of this popular movement that united home brewers and professional brewers in the state of Santa Catarina. So it means a lot to have this recognition on the BJCP. So I believe every Brazilian brewer feels recognized with this style, the BJCP. It's our first, our first national style.
That's great. So, well, you just said Tedesco first national style. So what other new styles are coming out of Brazil now?
Yeah, we are now, we have this movement, this national movement to create a beer that uses the same method that the indigenous people use it to ferment manioca. So we have this manioca base, and we collect the microorganisms that was originally on the place of the brewer, and we let that wild fermentation for like a year. When we are doing it all around the country, so we can have this terroir, and we are studying it. Diego from Coisa Linda and Abra Serva, our national brewer association. We are in the third year of this beer, and maybe we can have this in the next BJCP or something like that.
Oh, I like that.
It's a great beer.
It's exciting that you all have such like passion for creativity.
Yes, and not just mirroring what already exists. I love this.
Yeah, it's really refreshing.
You know, the first Brazilian beer with fruit is from the 800s. So we have a long history with fruit and beer. And in some way, we all our drinks use a lot of fruits. So in that sense, creativity, fruits, herbs, our farm, everything is connected with our Brazilian characteristics and our Brazilian possibilities.
And I think,
but I do want to drink a lot of Catharina Sours for all around the globe. I believe it's such a great style to express the local region. So
yeah, and I think this new movement is very, very beautiful. It's incredible to get together the brewers and searching for our roots And this is a very literary thing because manioca or cassava, it's a root, very common in every part of Brazil. And it's a very base food for us. We made a lot of food with this. We made farofa, we made tapioca, we make everything that you have in mind. We can make with cassava or mandioca. That's how this we say it here. So I think this new movement, it is very young, and I'm very happy to be here, being here, and like seeing the history making right now, because we are living right now and trying to get our roots together and making history for the Brazilian market.
That's so cool.
That is very exciting. Yes.
Very, very exciting. I can't wait to come back to visit and try it because it sounds wonderful. So
yeah.
Thank you guys so both much for coming on the program today. If anyone wants to reach out to you to talk about Brazilian beer or whatnot, I'd love you guys to share social media handles with our listeners, or email or website, whatever you both feel comfortable with.
Okay, perfect.
Aline, do you want to go first?
Okay. My Instagram account is very active, so I post in there.
This is true.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, I post in there all my work when I come to the other country to judge beer, and I share in there everything. It is aline.sommelier. So it's very easy.
And
I love it now.
Tedesco, how can people reach out to you?
I believe the best way is to go to our beer Instagram, at Pivo Cervejaria Rural. It's huge.
We'll link
We'll
it.
put it
We'll
in
link.
the, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
link
better.
it. I'll link to both of you. We'll link to both of
But
you.
you see a lot of fruits and a lot of Catharina Sour there. So
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us, and hopefully we can drink a Catharina Sour together sometime in the future.
Yes, thank you for this invitation. I hope you can get here and drink some Catarina with us, maybe on the beach or maybe on Tedesco farm.
Oh, yeah.
And taste
See, now you're just
beer.
rubbing it in. Like
We'll get there, Don. We'll get there. All right. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, guys. See you. Cheers.
So, Don, you want a Catarina Sour now, don't you?
I want a Catharina Sour. I think I want one in South America before I have a North American one, because it's all about the freshness and everything. And I feel like I need an authentic one first.
I just really like how it's all about the culture and access. Beer is all about access to local ingredients, and I think this is one of those beer styles that's like, this is what we grow. You're drinking Brazil,
Right.
in a craft beer. So I think it's really just
like, I mean, there's a reason Pilsner is Pilsner, right? Like, because the grain so it's really an extension of that. Obviously, they're known for their fruit in Brazil, so I think that's amazing.
It's a really cool style, and I think we should. I think we got to go on a trip to Brazil now to drink all the Catarina Sours that we can.
And our travel calendar is getting very, very tight.
But you never have to twist my arm to go to South America. I am obsessed with South America. I love it, and the beer scene there is so strong, and the Brazilians just like, they love beer so much, and they want everyone to love beer too. The passion down there is just.
I will start practicing my Portuguese.
This is all you need to know.
Bom dia.
All that, and desculpe, no falo português, which is, I'm sorry, I don't speak Portuguese.
Bom dia.
Yeah. Anyway, visit allaboutbeer.com, and please follow us on social media at allaboutbeer. And once again, if you're feeling generous, visit patreon.com/allaboutbeer to support this show and others. If you have questions for the experts, email podcast@allaboutbeer.com. That's also the email for feedback, suggestions, or to inquire about supporting the show through advertising. So, Don, how can people reach out to you?
I am active on X Threads and Instagram at The Dawn of Beer, or people can drop me an email, don@thedawnofbeer.com. And yourself, Em?
I am at Pints and Panels across all social media, and my website is www.pintsandpanels.com. If you like this show, please share it with your friends. Post about us on social media and like and subscribe to the show. Please help us spread the word of good beer. And once again, here's a final word from our sponsor.
Craving a beer but want to skip alcohol? Meet Estrella Galicia 00. It's a 0% beer that's both refreshing and full of flavor. Using an innovative interrupted fermentation process, they create a golden, bright beer with floral, hoppy notes, along with aromas reminiscent of pale malts. With its light, crisp, and gentle bitter finish, Estrella Galicia 00 is perfect for any occasion. Brewed entirely in Spain, this alcohol-free beer delivers the authentic taste of Estrella Galicia. Experience the difference and learn more by visiting estrellagalicia.com.
This show is produced by All About Beer. Visit allaboutbeer.com for articles, notes on this show and others, and to connect via the newsletter and social media. Cheers!
Cheers. Communicate with your
yeah.
fruit. Bom dia!
Bom dia!